Hello, Chakrabartis, welcome. Thank you for joining me, moi, Nigel Cecil, and of course regular viewers will know, invariably assisted by my very good friend Hilary. And this video is no exception, but given the topic that you've brought to our attention, as we never use autocue, teleprompt, things like that, Hilary thought it might be better to give moi some notes for guidance. Thank you, Hilary. Later on in this video, we'll be featuring in full a statement we received from Paul W. Fleming, the Equity General Secretary, back in October of last year. Please stick with us for this video.
Nigel Cecil, calling things out.
Chakrabartis, the World Cup football. Acclaim, your favourite team. Come on, we shout it all out. Freedom of expression within showbiz. Just imagine freedom of expression at an equity meeting and an away supporter is seated amongst home supporters in a trade union that supports freedom of expression. Surely that can happen. But some of our regular viewers are saying, Nigel, whilst we acclaim members being free to express their beliefs in their private and personal capacity, how does that apply to equity? Because surely what you believe in your private and personal capacity has nothing to do with equity. But equally as a trade union for performers and creatives, there should surely exist within equity an overarchingly safe space for members to come together in unity. Equity, you're telling us, should never judge talent. That's up to audiences, the law, and others in their private and personal capacity. How does a comedian get to feel that their jokes are hitting the right mark? They're not in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong inappropriate joke. How do actors know that they are reaching out and engaging their audiences? It's because of the audience response to their performance. The audience response is what matters. At last month's Equity's annual conference in Durham, how do representatives and attendees get to feel they are in a safe space? Well, it's exactly the same. The response of all those at the meeting. It's by listening and feeling how everyone reacts to what is going on. Workplace policies and related campaigns are a fundamental basis for uniting everyone. But when equity goes outside this remit, regardless of what you think about the issues, isn't it reasonable to believe that such actions can result in members feeling they are no longer in a safe place where freedom of expression takes precedence and the audience response kicks in? At the Equity Annual Conference in Durham, Equity called out Nigel Farage, Reform UK and the far right. Sir Keir Starmer and Labour were called out. Israel genocide was called out. What was the response from some of the 200 equity representatives and attendees? How will the rest of Equity's 50,000 members find out? It might be difficult because other than official Equity, no other audience recordings were permitted, no audio at all. So as far as we can determine, the videos from the conference posted by Equity edit out most of the audience responses. If members say they felt intimidated, like being an away supporter surrounded by home players at the Equity conference, without the audience response being available to the members, How is anyone able to judge that they are not just a lone voice? So, who cares? Just think of something without the audio. A football crowd reacting to a goal. The Equity Annual Conference where, well, workplace issues unite. And a protest. What a difference hearing the original sound might make. Jacobasses. Whilst it was a very short compilation without the original audio, it's more or less impossible to determine what was really going on, which is why the audience responses to any situation are so important. Last October, we published a video on our channel which featured an extract from a statement we'd received from Paul W. Fleming, the Equity General Secretary, following the atrocious terrorist attack on the Heaton Park Synagogue in Manchester. Given that the statement referred to Equity's commitment to freedom of expression, it now seems appropriate to read Paul's statement in full. I appreciate your kind words below, and although when expressing the union's policies and my personal views as an officer elected by the membership, I often don't agree with your videos, I appreciate that you are engaging in legitimate discussions with a group of members in a way you all find productive. Whilst I think a lot of the sentiment about fear of being cancelled a bit performative and baseless, I think on this topic it is important to provide a comment to you bearing in mind the gravity of the issues at hand. It cannot go without saying that the vile attack on Heaton Park Synagogue is a reprehensible and atrocious act. Equity stands united with the Jewish community and our broader membership in North Manchester and across the United Kingdom in condemning this unjustified and disgusting slaughter of innocent people. It flies in the face of the role of the arts and entertainment and Equity's mission as the trades union for those industries to use brute force and terror to intimidate ordinary working people assembling freely to worship on a holy day. It is wrong, immoral, and patently absurd to associate Jewish worshippers with the actions of the Israeli government, however one might feel about the continuing disaster in Gaza. Mindful of this, the desire to demonize peaceful organizations exercising their right to freedom of expression, like the Palestine Solidarity Campaign, or to associate them with extremist or unhinged terrorism, must also be condemned. All movements, including those advocating for Israel and for Palestine, have extremist fringes. It is the duty of those of us who defend freedom of expression to not demonize those with different views to us as being automatically part of that hateful fringe. With that in mind, and mindful too of the industrial imperative for the Union to protect freedom of expression over Gaza, which we have shown to be under threat from governments and others, it is hard to see how the Union's affiliation to a mainstream international solidarity campaign is relevant to the atrocities seen in Greater Manchester last week. To conflate criticism of the actions of the current Israeli government and the Jewish community in the UK is wrong and is at the root of the deranged attack in Manchester. Those who seek to make that conflation for their own political ends on either side of the debate should be ashamed. As a trades union, we support the right of freedom of association, whether at a protest or at a place of worship, and freedom of expression bounded by the dignity of workers. These principles' positions have been held by all parts of our union's broad church for almost 100 years, and our condemnation of the Heaton Park attacks and affiliation to the Palestine Solidarity Campaign are consistent with those aims. Freedom of expression. Cancel culture. One of our regular viewers had this to say, but asked to remain anonymous.
Surely the whole purpose of a union is to protect you as a worker. It's not to make sure you have extreme political views the way they want. That should be of no concern. You pay your money to the union and they should protect you in return. They shouldn't be concerned about what you do and how you go about your day-to-day life. But they're not getting, it doesn't seem to get called out, does it? And I just think that, is that right? Well, it's not right.
Freedom of expression, equity. History teaches us over many centuries that when it comes to any restrictions on freedom of expression, then it's in the core nature of performers, creatives, artists, the arts, to call out such restrictions. An away supporter seated amongst home supporters, an away creative seated amongst home creatives. The Equity Annual Conference held in Durham. One has to acclaim the right of those attending to have the same freedom of expression, to express their beliefs. But when that involves calling out Nigel Farage, Reform UK, the far right, Sir Keir Starmer, Labour, Israel, genocide, what was the audience response? And if Equity members heard that audience response, what would they conclude? Was Equity upholding freedom of expression in a place safe for all members?
But they're not getting, it doesn't seem to get called out, does it? And I just think that, is that right? Well, it's not right.